Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering the NBA playoff games that are going to be happening tonight. We're also going to be talking about the Cowboys' decline to pick up a fifth-year option on Trey Lance. We'll also be talking about UAB becomes the first Division I football team to join the Players Association. We'll also be talking about the 12-team CFP, and we'll cover a little bit about Kirby Smart becoming the highest-paid coach in college football. And make sure that you guys stick around for later in the show when we'll be diving into our Florida Man Friday story of the week. Before we start, though, I just wanted to ask that you guys like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is gsmcpodcast.net. This just puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also really helps the show. Whew, that was a mouthful. Hello, Tate.
Freaking Friday.
Happy Friday.
All right. So Faith tried to start talking to me before the show, and I'm like, oh no. This is an on-air conversation.
Yeah.
We're both,
We're matching
I feel like
a little bit today.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that. It's like I
once
didn't
in a while
notice.
it happens.
You can kind of tell I'm starting to get into my summer mode of clothing. There's a total difference. Okay, so Sister Faith over here
Yes.
was telling me she's a little tired today.
Yeah, so I took my last final yesterday, and I'm pretty sure it is like my last college final ever, because next semester I'm working on our campus news station, so I don't think I have any tests or anything with that. So I'm pretty sure it was my last ever college final. So woo!
That's awesome. See, I didn't realize that part. That is your that could be your last final ever.
Yeah.
That's cool. And
Very
then
exciting.
moving on to the newspaper.
Yeah, so I celebrated yesterday. I got myself a bottle of wine, and I just sat down, and I was rewatching one of my favorite TV shows, and I finished it up last night. So I stayed up a little bit too late.
All right, first off, I want to know what's the television show that you would consider
So it's an anime. It's called Death Note, and I finished it up yesterday. It's really good. I
have no clue what Death Note is, so
I'm a big anime head. They call us weebs, I guess, but I like them.
See, I didn't even know that.
But it was really good. I forgot how good the finale was of that show. So yeah, but I stayed up. I think I went to bed at like 10:30, which is late for me normally. So
see, there's nothing. See, this is the maturing Faith, where she's going to bed a little earlier.
Yeah.
Because I don't really sleep. So saying what time I go to bed is kind of irrelevant, because if I'm up at 2:00 in the morning for the start of my day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I remember being in college, and man, you would never go to bed before like midnight ever.
Yeah, I normally didn't. But I'm also somebody who requires a certain amount of hours of sleep. So
Faith, see, this is another thing where we're so opposite on. Faith loves her sleep.
I do.
I mean,
I will be taking a nap after the show today for sure.
And then I'm the person that don't really sleep. Although lately I've been sleeping a little bit more. Which has been kind of weird for me. I've been intentionally trying to sleep a little bit longer.
Sleep is important.
Out of peer pressure from Faith,
it's important. It's good for your health.
I've been bullied into sleeping an extra hour or two a day now. So since
it's good for you,
taking it to me. All right, so we got a full cap of shows of segments today.
Full
so
lineup.
I'm looking forward to it.
Alrighty, so first we're going to start off with the NBA playoffs that are going to be happening tonight. So our first story is from Yahoo Sports.
Not tonight, last night.
I thought it was tonight.
No, last night's games.
It said, when I looked up this stuff, it said May 3rd. Today is May 3rd.
No, that was last night's games.
Ooh.
So there's a I think somebody needs to make a quick move. We have
Yeah, okay.
let me help a sister out real quick here. You had the New York Knicks winning 118 to 115 to close out the Philadelphia 76ers. You also had
That
the
was
Indiana Pacers 120, the Milwaukee's 98 to close out the Milwaukee Bucks.
Well, that is not what I was sent yesterday. So I was sent.
Let me see. What did you? Oh, I trust you.
I was
What was
sent
it?
Game 6 Clippers versus the Mavericks, which happens tonight, and I was also
No.
sent the Cavaliers versus Magic, which happens tonight. That's what I was sent.
Ooh,
So
then.
for what I was sent, I did the correct prep for it.
Wait a minute. Is this a Monday or is this a Friday?
It's Friday, but
Okay.
this is what I got. So
Okay, I'm going to blame myself, okay?
okay.
Because I sent the games to Sarah, who then puts everything together to send to you. And I don't know what the heck happened. I'm just curious. What did I send you or what did I send her? Because it looks like I totally screwed up then. Let me see here.
Well,
Let's see. I trust you, but while I'm stalling here, why don't you go find yes, you are so right. Ooh, that was my mistake.
I am.
I don't know
so
how I
right.
did that. Yes. Jump on there and grab you one that you want to talk about as I talk about getting ready for these games. It's weird for me. This year has been watching the playoffs have been, kind of different because the games happen and then I have to watch them in the morning because they happen at like 1, 2, and 3 in the morning. So for me, I have to get up in the morning, scramble, find the games, don't want anyone to ruin the game for me. So, you know what I mean? Because when you go on, everyone's like reaction from the Pacers beating the Bucks, and you're like, no, because you want to be a little surprised. So that's an issue that I have. I don't want to talk too much about the game because we all have responsibilities in the family of Andrew Tate Show, and I don't want to be stepping on Sister Faith. How did you just became Sister Faith lately, haven't you?
But I did find some stuff that we can talk about.
Of course,
Trust
me, there's plenty to cover.
Okay.
So all right.
Back to our scheduled programming. So we'll be talking about the Knicks versus the 76ers. And we'll also be discussing the Bucks versus the Pacers. But let's start out with the Knicks and the 76ers. Both of these stories are coming from Yahoo Sports. So starting off with the 76ers and the Knicks, Josh Hart's magnetic palms secured the basketball one last time against the 76ers on Thursday night. A last-ditch heave from Buddy Hield clanked off the backboard like a missile seeking Hart's possession, his 14th and final rebound as the buzzer sounded on New York's Game 6 victory over Joel Embiid and co. The Knicks' scrappy swingman, the 6'4" giant on glass who's averaged 12.3 boards per game these playoffs, then waved the crowd goodbye. His three-pointers with 24.4 seconds to play, proving to be the decisive dagger in the New York's 118-115 survival with 4-2 series wins. Hart would keep that game ball close, cradled to his hip, strutted around the court through the post-game pleasantries with Philadelphia players and personnel.
Okay, now this game here, this whole series, it's rare that you have a situation where you're like, man, I really hate to see one of these guys go home. Normally, I don't have a problem seeing the Knicks go home. You just expect it. But this is not This is not your daddy's Knicks. This is not grandpa's Knicks either.
Oh my
This is a
God.
whole different Knicks that, I mean, this is a complete team. Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson just played their butts off. Um, this team is one of the most complete teams in basketball. And I mean, in all of basketball. That's the thing that makes them so tough. They don't really, yes, Brunson is a star, but most teams that are great have a superstar. Like the 76ers, they have Joel Embiid. You know, they're playing right now without Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm.
But they're such a complete team, and so many players have stepped up that it has just been so impressive. When you start thinking about like the coach really trusting Josh Hart to come off the bench and just really just rode him all the way through. Josh Hart, 14 rebounds in game 6, critical rebounds, and then the dagger in the heart, that last 3 at the very end that kind of put them away. Jalen Brunson balling like the best. He's the best play of Jalen Brunson's career has been right now in the playoffs. That's the kind of guy you want. You want a guy that when the lights are on, you're going to play the best. Became the 7th player in NBA history to record 3 consecutive 40-point plus games. Yeah, I will repeat that. The 7th player in NBA history to have 3 consecutive 40-point postseason games. I mean, that's Jordan-esque type of work that he's done. It's cool. Here's a cool thing about these Knicks. These guys all played together in college. That's the weird thing. You don't normally see that. Brunson, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, they all played for Villanova in college. So they have this cohesiveness that they have from playing together for so many years together that it's been, I mean, they've just been amazing. And you could tell this is not your daddy's Knicks. I say it kind of in a rough way. It's not your daddy's Knicks because when you see the camera pan to Leon Rose, the owner, you could tell he was ecstatic. He was happy. Boy, when he reached and he grabbed Brunson and hugged him, he meant that hug, you know. he meant every bit of that hug because the Knicks have not normally in a series like this. If it's a close series, even when the Knicks were doing good back in the day, those close series, they always came up short most times. Not this time. There was only a 1-point scoring differential in the whole series. 1 point. That's the difference between these two teams. It's weird to say I hated to see either one of these guys go because they all played so well. And I'm going to say the guy that played the best of them all, Joel Embiid, back issues, knee issue, then ended up with Bell palsy as well, which is a face issue when your face is like face gets paralyzed. I forget how it kind of goes, but it's not a stroke, but it's kind of gives kind of stroke symptoms. He's playing with all of that, and Joel Embiid with the 76ers, he did everything he can. I don't really want to hear anyone badmouth Joel Embiid and say he can't win the big one because he did everything he could to drag the 76ers and try to get this win. Like I said, a 1 point difference between them is like, that's crazy. That's as close as it gets. That's a half a basket. That's a free throw from it being an even series. And so I thought that was, I mean, hats off to both of these teams. Before the playoffs started, when Joel Embiid had his injury, I said that the Knicks, I mean, not the 76ers, should not play him. But he came back from that patella injury, and I'm just like, I'm amazed by how well he played. He really did everything he could. He did everything to keep them to advancing. They came up short, but they can hold their head high because they did. I mean, that was quite impressive what they've done. So,
yeah. Alrighty. Well, moving on to the Bucks and the Pacers. So the Milwaukee Bucks elimination by the Indiana Pacers in the first round of the NBA playoff was ugly. Patrick Beverley made it so much uglier. In the last final minutes of the Bucks series, deciding the 120-98 loss in Game 6, Beverley was seen on the TNT broadcast chucking a ball at a female Pacer fan and hitting her in the head. He then requested the ball from a different fan and harshly threw it back at him. Beverley proceeded to jaw with the fans behind him as his Buck teammates and coaches and security dealt with the situation. Beverley will almost certainly be disciplined by the NBA. He was not ejected for the incident but did not appear in the game again. Beverley scored 6 points on 3 for 11 shooting with 5 assists, 2 rebounds, and 0 turnovers. He posted a message of congratulations to the Pacers after the game and then responded to the brewing backlash hours later by complaining that the Bucks had exchanged with a fan during the game and that calling the situation not fair. It is unclear if either of the man or the woman Beverley hurled the ball at were the fan in question. He did not apologize.
Give me Patrick Beverley's numbers again.
Let's see. He scored 6 points on 3 of 11 shootings with 5 assists, 2 rebounds, and 0 turnovers.
When you look at these pathetic numbers,
I know.
you take it, and then you turn around and you say, he beamed the woman in the head with the basketball intentionally. He's been, this is not a fluke incident. This is a chronic repeater of poor behavior.
Yeah, he sounds like a great guy.
Yeah, you look at people talk about Draymond Green. At least Draymond Green is productive. Patrick Beverley, you don't need that on a team. I would love to see the NBA come down heavy on him because we're starting off by talking about Patrick Beverley, a triple single. 6 points. How many? -2 rebounds, -40 assists. I mean, he's not.
Yeah.
His contribution isn't worth the hassle of having him on the court. I don't like the badmouth players, but this guy has consistently been a black eye in the NBA. You can say, hey, Draymond Green, but you can look at Draymond Green and say, hey, there's some great things with Draymond Green. He's part of the Warriors championship runs. He's been a important part of why the Golden State Warriors have done what had been such a successful organization. But Patrick Beverley has just been a black eye in the game. And I hate that we're talking about him instead of the Indiana Pacers, who performed, amazingly. Very few people had them winning this series. There's a real nice, good-looking guy that's on YouTube, got a show named after him. Do you know what it is called again? It's kind of new. I think it's like Andrew Tate Show, I think it is. That guy right there, he picked Indiana.
I was like, what are you talking about?
That guy right there picked Indiana from the giddy up.
Oh gosh.
Faith is like, okay, where are you going with this?
I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes. When the playoffs were first announced, I came out and I said, I'm taking Indiana to beat the Bucks. And strictly the reason was, and this was when I thought Giannis and Dame Lillard was going to be healthy, because all year they have had the Bucks number all year. Go back and look at it. Winning record consistently have beaten the Bucks all year, and the playoffs were no different. They were the better team. They had a deeper, better defense, a deeper bench. TJ McCullough was amazing. Obi Toppin. That's all you gotta say. Obi Toppin was balling. I was incredibly impressed with that. Then you mix in the fact that Giannis was absent, and then Dame Lillard was absent a game, coming back in with a strained Achilles tendon. Not having Giannis, not really having a fully healthy Dame Lillard was more, already a team that had given them struggles all year. But then to have your two superstars, not stars, superstar players out was more than they could handle. And the Pacers move on with a four games to 2 series, which is setting up for a Knicks Indiana series. That's going to be a great series. So that is the ultimate team ball series, where you have two teams that are incredibly balanced teams, deep benches, that both play together, very similar in a lot of ways. Looking forward to seeing that series.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, with that, guys, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to be discussing the Cowboys' decline to pick up the 5th-year option on Trey Lance. So make sure you guys stick around, and we'll be back in a minute. And I promise everything here on out is correct. We'll see you guys in a minute.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were discussing the NBA playoff games that happened last night, and now we're going to be talking about the Cowboys' decline to pick up a 5th-year option on Trey Lance. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind you guys to like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is gsmcpodcast.net. Let's just put your question at the top of the list so I can see it, and it also really helps the show.
Okay, so I was thinking about how did we have this mistake today with the shows, and I'm like, I was racking my brain like, how did this happen? And then it made sense to me. Last night's games, which were on the 2nd for the U.S., are actually on the 3rd.
Oh,
So when I went to ESPN and I pulled up the games, they had just listed apparently East Coast times. Normally the websites adjust to whatever territory your whatever time zone you're in. So normally websites adjust and say this game is on, instead of the 2nd, is played at the 3rd at like 1 o'clock in the morning. ESPN had just showed the East Coast games.
well,
So
we got it all
the East
figured
Coast
out.
times. So I'm just saying, so I went and pulled up the games for the 3rd ESPN. That's actually the next day. So I totally messed up on that one.
No
I
worries.
throwing my girl off, making her she had already had too many glasses of Chardonnay, and now we're gonna throw a curveball at her.
It was Pinot Grigio, but
Now, what you need to do if you're a wine lover is, first off, Portugal's very famous for its port wine. That's where it comes from, Portugal and port. But also they have a 3rd wine. There's red wine, there's white wine, and then in Portugal they have green wine.
green wine.
Yes.
Rosé, pink wine.
No, rosé is a blend. Green Portugal. Type in Portuguese green wine. Got to take a look at that real quick.
That just
But yeah,
sounds-
so they have a 3rd category. They have Portuguese green wine, which people apparently love here. Got to drop some knowledge on you guys about Portugal every once in a while, you know. Did you find?
I've had Vinho Verde. It's not really green. It looks more of like a white. But I have had green wine before. I just didn't know that it was green wine.
Just like yesterday when I talked to you
and it
about
is really good. It is really good.
Rumpelmans and Fireball being cousins. I may not drink, but I know how to corrupt. So
Well, I've had green wine before. It's not green. You say green and you think, like
Oh, you're
St.
thinking
Patrick's
like-
Day green.
no.
No, it looks like white wine though. It's good
Green
though.
is-
I've had it before.
Okay, so just sharing with the group, sharing is caring. That's all
Yes.
I'm saying.
I'm a
All
big-
right, let's do this.
Big wine drinker. I like wine. All right. Anyway, so the Cowboys decline a 5th-year option on the ex-49er quarterbacks with Trey Lance. I couldn't think of his first name. Sorry.
You pause. I didn't know what you were pausing on. I'm like, normally I can figure out what you're pausing on. I'm like, I have no clue what you're talking about right now. Okay.
Alrighty, so this story comes also from Yahoo Sports. So former 49ers quarterback Trey Lance still faces an uncertain NFL future, but one thing about his tumultuous journey became more clear Wednesday. The Dallas Cowboys will decline to pick up the 5th-year option on Lance's contract for 2025, ESPN Todd Archer reported, citing a source noting that picking up the option would have cost Dallas a fully guaranteed $22.4 million. The 49ers drafted Lance number 3 overall in the 2021 NFL Draft, and his tenure with San Francisco was marred by injuries before being cut short by Brock Purdy's ascension as a starter. Before the start of the 2023 NFL regular season, the 49ers traded Lance to the Cowboys for a 2024 4th-round draft pick, which the team used to select safety Malik Mustafa.
Sure.
Mustafa. I'm sure I butchered that. Okay.
Mufasa.
At number 124 overall last week. Lance appeared in just 8 games, 4 starts over 2 seasons with the 49ers, and he arrived in Dallas immediately behind Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush on the depth chart. The 23-year-old was inactive for all 17 of the Cowboys games during the 2023 NFL season, and now he'll compete with Rush for the Dallas backup job this summer. Between the coronavirus pandemic and injuries, Lance last played substantial snaps in 2019 for North Dakota State, but he isn't the only quarterback from the 2021 draft class to struggle. The only one of that group to have his fifth-year option picked up was Jacksonville Jaguars star Trevor Lawrence, the #1 overall pick. Despite Lance's bad luck so far, his former 49ers teammate Trent Williams said in October that he believes the young quarterback will find his way back into a starting role. The clock certainly is ticking on Lance's window of opportunity, and while it feels like every summer has been a make or break for Lance, he certainly has something to prove going into the 2024 season.
Okay. First, one thing I did learn about this one is that only Trevor Lawrence is the only quarterback that had his fifth-year option picked up. That was a little bit of a surprise for me. When I first heard this, before I dove into the details, I was like, "What?" Like, wow! I was a little stunned by this because I'm like, okay, Dak's contract is running out this year. They can't cap him, they can't trade him, and his contract's running out. And I knew that they picked up his fourth-year option, Trey Lance's fourth-year option, which was like $5 to $6 million. And then to see that they didn't pick up the fifth-year option, I'm like, oh my God, what are the Cowboys doing?
Yeah.
But then, it's one of those things, and Jerry, I trust a lot of times when it comes to drafting players and things of that nature. I think the Cowboys do an amazing job. They may love the media attention and all that comes with it, but they're great. They're very good at bringing in talent and drafting talent and keeping their talent. So I was like, okay, Trey Lance is most likely the future for the Cowboys going forward. If Dak doesn't come back, then I find out they're not going to pick up his fifth-year option. That had me cause for pause. But then I looked into it and found out it was, how much is $23 million?
$22.4 million.
Fully guaranteed. It's the right decision. It's what the Cowboys should do, or any organization should do in their situation. You decline that offer, meaning he's already under contract for the 2024 season. Trey Lance comes in as a free agent at the end of this year. Dallas would still be able to, if they wanted to keep him, they would still have the option to franchise tag him or negotiate a new contract for him. With the fact that he hasn't played at all, it's not going to be hard for a team to re-sign him, and maybe re-sign him at a much lower deal. Also, it frees up a lot for the Cowboys as well. You have Trey Lance. You can see where he's progressing. You can also see what happens with this year. And then if Dak leaves, you still have the franchise tag and the ability to work out a new contract and say, this is going to be our quarterback of the future. So there's very little risk there, while at the same time seeing what's going to happen with Dak. So ultimately, this is a smart move on their part, but it does remind you that there's a lot of things on the line for the Cowboys this year.
All right.
One, at the end of this year, are you going to sign Dak, or are you going to let Dak go? Are you going to sign Trey Lance, or are you going to let him go? What are you going to do about Micah Parsons? How much are you going to give CeeDee Lamb? Are you going to trade CeeDee Lamb? Dallas it really is a situation where they're at the crossroads now. And you're looking around and you're saying, is this the year? Like, do you just at the end of this year, it is a possibility Dallas could blow this thing up and start all over. And because I do see them taking a step back this year. I don't think Dallas last year was the year for them to make a run at the Super Bowl, and it still ended in a first round exit.
Mm-hmm.
This year, they're not as strong. I feel like the running game, I'm going to say the running game's a push. From Pollard to Ezekiel Elliott, honestly, looking at what Pollard and his health, it's a push. Maybe I'd lean a little bit more toward Ezekiel Elliott. They got Royce Freeman, Deuce Vaughn. So the running game, it's not going to, I don't look at it as a great running game. The receivers are going to be great. Michael Gallup has moved on. So I don't know what they're going to do as far as at wide receivers. They've lost eight players from last year. Dallas is they've made some great draft picks to fill a lot of those positions, but those positions you're replacing Pro Bowlers with rookies, established veterans with rookies. I don't see how Dallas is going to be a better team this year. This is definitely at a crossroad. So this is going to be an interesting year. Now, if Dak, I'm going to say this. If Dak comes through this year, because I feel like Dallas is putting it all on his shoulders. It's either we're going to win with Dak or we're going to lose with Dak.
Mm-hmm.
If Dak comes through this and performs incredibly well, great. If Dak gets injured or falls off, they're going to give Trey Lance a shot. I think this is the year that if there's any chance to get Trey Lance, if Dallas starts sliding and playoffs are, let's say it doesn't go well and they're a wild card or maybe even missing the playoffs, don't be surprised if this contract doesn't come into play, because Trey Lance, they're going to make, if things slide, Trey Lance is going to get a shot to play this year, whether by injury or if things goes off the rails, they're going to turn to Trey Lance. They're going to want to see what they have with Trey Lance if they're not contending for the championship or the NFC East, a wild card or something like that. But Cowboy fans, be prepared to have taken a step back, and that could mean missing the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I've been saying, they were going to be all in this year, and it doesn't necessarily look like they are. So
it's that all in statement is so brutal because, like I said,
bites you in the butt.
girl, like it took like a big old Rottweiler just bit you in the booty, because it's like you signed two guys on free agency that were not impact players, so no moves as far as impact players in free agency. Really, they didn't trade up to get some blockbuster player. They played it incredibly safe. They didn't go out and they didn't draft a running back. They didn't go out and they got a wide receiver in the 6th round. So they didn't get an impact wide receiver. They didn't do any of the things that a team would do that would be all in. They haven't signed Dak. It has been the opposite of all in. It is,
unless they have a different definition of what all in is. Yes.
They're all in on, I feel like the Cowboys are all in on let's wait and see. That's what they're all in on. Let's wait and see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
We ain't doing anything. It's kind of like we want to see if the boogeyman really gonna come out, or we just gonna wait before we make any moves. The Cowboys have been so cautious. It's so abnormally cautious. I mean, this has been fiscal responsibility, drafting responsible, making the not so sexy pick, making the boring but right pick. They're trying to do everything. It seems like a team that's ready to rebuild or reload, not to contend for a Super Bowl this year. I think that's kind of just the way it feels to me. Is that doesn't say all in to me.
No,
So
it does not. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking a lot about college football. We'll be discussing UAB becoming the first Division I football team to join the Players Association. We'll also be talking about the expanded 12-team college football playoff, and then we'll be touching a little bit on Kirby Smart. And Georgia gave him a raise, and he is now the highest-paid coach in college football. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back.
that cheddar.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about the Dallas Cowboys to decline fifth-year option on ex-49ers quarterback Trey Lance. And now we're going to be talking a lot about college football, and we're first going to start out with UAB becomes the first Division I football team to join the Players Association.
I was just gonna say, this is kind of cool because this is kind of like my college football rapid fire. I got about 4 minutes a topic.
Yeah.
I'm like, got my hands here, and I'm like, go.
Alrighty, so, all right, starting out, we have UAB becomes the first Division I football team to join the Players Association. This story comes from ESPN. UAB football players say their entire roster has signed up for athletes.org, making them the first Division I football team to publicly join the Players Association. They were introduced to the group by an unexpected source, their head coach. Trent Dilfer gathered his team for a voluntary meeting in mid-April to encourage them to prepare for a future when college athletes might be able to negotiate for a larger share of their sports revenue. They're going to have a seat at the table, Dilfer told ESPN. I wanted to make sure I helped pour gasoline on something that is going to happen no matter what. I might as well use my influence to help it happen faster on behalf of our players. Dilfer introduced the team to athletes.org, one of several companies attempting to organize athletes for potential revenue sharing discussion. UAB players told ESPN every member of the team signed up to join the organization after hearing its pitch.
Okay, first off, it's kind of a publicity stunt. That's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Trent Dilfer, great analyst, former football player, trying to do the right thing while getting a little extra light shined on himself. It's the first, they're trying to do the first step to unionizing college football. That's what they're trying to work toward.
Right.
And it's a good step, but the wrong one. If you're going to tell me, hey, in Alabama, the university just joined the union, it'd be like, oh, shoot, Alabama done joined the union? And it's like, yeah, Alabama. It's Alabama, Birmingham, though. It's not the Tide. It's not the Crimson Tide. Yeah. It's UAB. That's like saying a team in Ohio just joined the union, and you're talking about the Akron Zips, not Ohio State. It's not on the same level.
Yeah.
It's a great story. Something like this is going to happen, but this is more of an opportunity to grab some headlines it's more headline than substance.
Duh.
You wanna impress somebody, make Auburn, which is in Alabama, state of Alabama. They join the union, and we'll make 2-3 segments out of that.
Yeah.
But UAB, Trent Dilfer going to UAB's program and saying, hey, why don't all of us sign a union? Well, none of that college football money really going to y'all anyway. Y'all got about $1.50 out of all the college football money. So it's something to talk about. It's something like this is going to happen at some point, because when you look at all these lawsuits and things that are going down the pike, this is the direction things are going to go. It won't be because Trent Dilfer and UAB decided that they were going to join a union. Of course, these guys are going to join a union. It gives them they get some headlines, but where's the revenue going from? UAB is not in the SEC. They're not in the ACC. They're not in the Big 10. They're not in the Big 12. They're not even in the Pac-12. You understand what I mean? So having UAB, University of Alabama, Birmingham, as the first team to join, to me, is an attention grab, not a real factor.
Yeah.
Come to me when that happens. Once these lawsuits start getting settled and college football agrees on a revenue share, then it's going to be tough, because you're going to have about 130 different private organizations, with each team having about 100 players each, trying to figure out how do you unionize all of these guys. That's going to be a challenge, because just because Alabama wants to unionize, maybe Georgia doesn't. Maybe Michigan, Ohio State does, but Penn State and Oregon and Washington doesn't. That's going to take some time. That's not going to happen right now. It's going to happen later. Time's up.
Time's up.
Let's move on.
Alrighty, well, we're going to move on to our next story for this segment. So the expanded 12-team college football playoff is here, and it already has problems. This story also comes from Yahoo Sports. Inside the college football playoff meeting room at a resort hotel in the posh society of Las Colinas, the industry's most powerful leaders played a bracket game. Gathered around a table, the FBS commissioners and Notre Dame's athletic director projected a 12-team playoff bracket by applying the 2022 rankings. 8 months away from a historic 2024 CFP selection day, the inaugural expanded playoff, the bracketing exercise commenced as a way to show executives the matchup, trends, and perhaps even issues, produced with a new format. A couple of hours later, a handful of reporters were ushered into the room to do the same, sitting in the exact chairs in which commissioners previously resided, as outgoing CFP director Bill Hancock guided the room through the process. In front of us, a projection screen flickered to life with a bracket, a 2022 12-team playoff based on rankings that year, and considering realignment moves. First round matchups at on-campus sites of the better seed included number 8 seed Tennessee hosting number 9 Kansas State, number 12 seed Tulane at number 5 TCU, number 10 Southern California at number 7 Alabama, and number 11 Penn State at number 6 Ohio State.
Okay, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Give me that. I will take that right now. I'm you got to remember 2022 TCU was good, Kansas State was good. The teams and where they were at. This was kind of saying, I thought they were kind of saying that this was going to give some kind of weird matchups. There's no weird matchup there. Yes, they had Ohio State and Penn State playing each other again. I would get over it. That's Ohio State, Penn State first round
Real
home
take.
game. I will take that. Imagine first round of the college football playoffs, and you got, I don't know, let's say Georgia versus Tennessee, or
We're
Georgia
playing
and
Clemson,
Alabama.
so
Right, but well, I'm just saying some of the things they were talking about is they didn't like that some of the conference games were being played against each other at Ohio State, Penn State, Ohio State. Who cares? If it's a 12-team playoff and just so happen a first round game falls Alabama and Georgia and
Yep.
Michigan or Ohio State in the game, that is called a win.
Yeah.
This year in the NBA playoffs, I'm sure if you would have asked Adam Silver, he would have loved to have the Denver Nuggets versus the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals,
Right.
or the Western Conference Finals. But the way things rolled out, they were playing against each other in the first round. It doesn't discount the fact that these are great games and the fans win. So I love this matchup. I thought it was great. It shows, I think, no matter how you slice it, it's nice. I would have approved it, even if they would have came up with Alabama and Georgia, Ohio State versus Michigan, and TCU versus Kansas State was one of the games. I would have been like, who cares that you ended up with rematches from conference games? It comes down to how the playoffs line up. That's one of the big problems with college football. College football keeps trying to make it so that you align the conferences so that they get the best matchups, and they don't want to have Alabama and Auburn play each other unless it's in the finals, or Alabama and Georgia, or Michigan, Ohio State's the final. No, just have it laid out so the fans can understand, if you finish here and this guy finishes here, you guys are playing. There's nothing wrong with that. It actually gives it a sense of legitimacy, because okay, this is where things fall. If you should have done better. If you didn't want to face Alabama in the first round, you should have done better. But that's the way it washed out. Like the Lakers. Do you think the Lakers really wanted to play Denver, a team that had been dominating them all year for 2 years?
Yeah.
Don't you think they would have loved to have played somebody else? But they should have won. They should have won more games. They should have put all the efforts in to not have that matchup. Luck may have it, they did not do what they needed to do, so they drew Denver in the first round. Now they're going home fishing. They're headed to Cancun. Just the way it works.
Just the way of the world.
Time's up, Faith. Moving on to the next.
Time's up. Moving on. Alrighty. Well, we'll also be talking about, Georgia, go Dogs, gives Kirby Smart a raise to make him the highest paid coach in college football. This story also comes from Yahoo Sports. So Kirby Smart is set to be the highest paid coach in college football. Smart officially received a 2-year contract extension from Georgia on Thursday. His contract with the Bulldogs now runs through the 2033 season, and he is set to make $13 million in 2024. The pay bump
That's not that much. That's not that much. No, I thought it was going to be way more than that. 13? That's all he's getting?
That's all he's getting. Tate.
Girl, come on, Alabama. Georgia, step up to the plate.
Okay.
Throw some more cheddar biscuits on his plate.
So the pay bump pushes him ahead of Clemson's Dabo Swinney as the highest paid coach. Dabo Swinney, as the highest paid coach at a public university, according to USA Today's database. Swinney is set to make $11 million in 2024. Though private school coaching salaries are not available to the public, it's safe to say that Smart is the highest paid coach in all of college football. The rankings of top college football coaching salaries will look a lot different in 2024 with the departures of Nick Saban and Jim Harbaugh. Saban retired from his position at Alabama in January before Harbaugh left Michigan after a national title and a 15-0 season for another shot in the NFL with the Los Angeles Chargers. Saban and Harbaugh had routinely been among the highest paid coaches in college football. Smart's extension and raise comes after he signed a 10-year contract with the school in 2022 that was set to pay him over $10 million a season. At the time Smart's extension, just 5 other coaches in college football had salary over $9 million in 2022.
Okay. When I said they needed to put some more cheddar on those biscuits, I mean it. Listen, Dabo Swinney earlier this year got released by the Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The Texas A&M Aggies, who are in the SEC, do you know how much money they had to pay him?
No.
$76 million. Wait.
Yeah.
76 million, yes.
$1 billion.
So he got 76 million. Jimbo Fisher getting paid more than Dabo Swinney, and he's sitting on the deck, just sipping pina colada.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little surprised that I thought it should be more now.
Well, you also you do have to take into consideration that Georgia hasn't always been as good as they are now. Georgia's been on the come up since 21.
No, it's a couple years. Oh, but you know what? You just brought up a great point. Because I'm gonna throw some shade at your Georgia Bulldogs for a second.
Hey,
for a second, I'm just throwing.
I don't be throwing anything bad over your Wolverines. So,
hey, I got a little hurt about you talking about my shirt yesterday. So
his silk designer shirt.
So, here's the thing. Should they have done this contract? Absolutely. There's no question about it.
No brainer.
This is a past, present, and future decision. Past, like you said, he has brought Georgia to the pinnacle of the SEC and to the national championship picture. 2 back-to-back national championships. Was going for a 3-peat. Fell a little short.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about last year. Okay. Then you look at and you say, going forward, Nick Saban is gone. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Okay? So now the SEC belongs to Georgia, and we're going to pay them that way. The only thing I'm throwing some shade at, Faith, is pump your brakes. There's no guarantee the SEC belongs to Georgia. Because if you were going to give me a prediction and you ask me, hey, Tate, who do you see as the future of the SEC? Look at me, Faith. You ready? It's Texas.
Boo.
The future of the SEC, I predict, is going to be Texas.
Nah, some dog.
The reason why that is Texas getting that SEC money, getting that SEC recognition, playing in a tough conference. Texas is back. Texas football is back. And I'm going to tell y'all, ladies and gentlemen, in the world of name, image, and likeness, no one has deeper pockets than Texas. I'm going to let y'all know. That's the reason why I say the future of the SEC is Texas, is because they got that Longhorn cash. And that makes a difference. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're gonna be in, now that Texas now has access to recruit in Georgia and Alabama. You don't have to be like, well, but my baby, we're in Alabama, we won't get to see my baby play. But no. We got Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi State. They're all there. You be able to catch all of them. And guess what? On those games in Texas, we're going to fly that private jet over there, pick mama up, Mama Goodfoot over, and fly you to Austin to watch the game. I'm just telling you, the future of when you look at the world name, image, and likeness, and being able to pay players the absolute most. Like I said, we were talking about Jimbo Fisher getting that $76 million. Do you know where he went? Where he was coaching? Texas A&M. That Texas money is a real deal. SMU playing out of Dallas, Texas. They got so much money. So many boosters wanted them to play in the ACC.
It's because the housing market's cheap.
They went to the ACC and said, "Listen, you bring our SMU in. We don't even want any television money. Not for 1 year, not for 2 years, not for 3 years, not 5, not 7, 10 years. It's all good. We'll cover that." There's a lot of money in Texas, and the Texas Longhorn has the most money of them all. That's the reason why I say the future of the SEC is Texas.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. My tuition is going to be... Good thing I'm only there for one more semester, because my tuition is going to be through the roof.
Listen, the reason why I hate to break this to you, why you said you don't have, this is your last final, because you wouldn't have enough money to cover that last final. That's going to be going. That last final going to be a doozy if you'd had to take it next year.
That's what student loans are called.
Oh, I hit them all in time, Faith.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
Excellent.
Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we're going to take another quick little break, and when we come back, we're going to dive into our Florida Man Friday story of the week. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were talking about a lot in college football. We were discussing UAB becomes the first Division I football team to join the Players Association. We were also talking about the expanded 12-team college football playoff, and then we also talked about Georgia giving Kirby Smart a raise to make him the highest paid coach in college football. And now we're going to dive into our Friday special of our Florida Man story. So, Tate loves these.
Of course I do.
He loves these. Okay. So, when I was looking for this story, I saw that there is a repeating trend in these Florida Man stories. That somebody is throwing some sort of food at somebody else and they're getting arrested for it. Because there were like 3 or 4 like news stories that were out about that. Because remember, I think it was last week that we did the guy threw the pizza dough at his roommate.
Yep.
Was it last week?
And pizza dough heavy. Last week or week before last, pizza dough will knock a fool out.
So we have another situation where somebody threw some food at somebody and they got in trouble for it. So this story comes from the Daily Boulder. A Florida man found himself behind bars after a heated argument with his sister culminated in him launching pieces of fried chicken at her. I want to say that this is pronounced Kanye, or it could be Kanye. I don't know.
Let's call it Kanye, because that sounds good. Let's call Kanye's sister got knocked out by a piece of chicken.
So Kanye Medley, aged 22, was apprehended by Clearwater police following the poultry-based altercation, according to jail records. Allegedly, Medley didn't chicken out when things got heated. Nice. Instead, he opted to pelt his sister with chicken pieces at his sister's back. The incident unfolded at their shared residence in Clearwater, where an argument between the siblings escalated into a physical confrontation, according to the arrest record obtained by the Smoking Gun. Living under the same roof in Clearwater, the siblings' verbal spat reportedly reached its climax when Medley, in a fit of frustration, grabbed a bag of chicken, possibly from a nearby Church's Texas chicken joint, and aimed it squarely at his sister. I'm going to pause real quick. How dare you? How dare you waste a good bag of Church's fried chicken?
Wait a
Church's
minute,
is
though.
one of my favorite places to get fried chicken from.
Okay, can I comment before you go ahead?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you trying to knock a fool out, is there a better chicken to knock a fool out than those big pterodactyl wings that Church's Chicken be serving?
You are right. Yeah.
I ain't never seen a turkey bigger than these chicken wings they be serving at Church's.
I love some Church's chicken.
Just letting the fool know.
Yeah.
Okay, so keep on. I apologize for interrupting you here.
All right, so one piece of the fried chicken struck the victim's back, leaving food debris on her shoulders. During police questioning, Medley confessed to throwing 2 pieces of chicken at his sister, one of which made contact with her. He cited hunger and dissatisfaction with the offered chicken as the reasons behind his actions. Following his arrest, Medley was released from Pinellas County Jail on the next day. Curiously, this incident isn't an isolated one involving food in Pinellas County this week. Another individual, Nolan Goins, 46, was arrested for a misdemeanor of simple battery after allegedly hurling pasta with sauce at another driver during a road rage episode sparked by glaring headlights. During the altercation, Goins flung pasta from his vehicle, striking the other driver on the arm, legs, and torso. Although the victim sustained no injuries, Gain was arrested and later released on a $1,000 bond. So, people in Florida just love throwing food at each other.
They throwing good food over at people.
I know.
That's what's upsetting me.
Yeah.
I'm all over here with the Grumbellies, and y'all talking about throwing pasta and chicken. Why don't y'all just put up a nice little box of pasta and chicken and ship it on over to Portugal for it, brother? We should, Faith. I'm upset with you.
Why?
I'm upset with you.
Are you hungry?
No. We could have been doing this episode while eating pasta and chicken.
I think it's a little too early in the morning for me to have pasta and chicken.
Listen,
It's 8 o'clock for me right now.
cold pasta in the morning with a piece of chicken, that is called quality eats. It's noon here. I'm game for it. But, okay, let's go back to the conversation about the chicken conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to first off say, throwing it at his sister, I have 2 siblings. I kind of get it, man. I get it. My siblings, we've all had altercations before. More me and my sister than more than me and my brother.
Have you hit your sister in the head with a drumstick yet?
No.
But
my sister's 8 years. My sister's 8 years older than me. So,
is she tall or short like you?
we're all short. She's taller than me though. I think she's 5'3".
Ooh, no, she's like a giant compared to you then.
Like 4 inches. Whatever though. Anyway, I just wanted to say that I get it. I get it a little bit, okay? I have siblings. I know what can, the sibling beef and all that. I get it.
Okay, here's my statement. If they'd have threw some Kentucky Fried Chicken, there wouldn't have been no charges. but you throw those big pterodactyl wings, the Church's Chicken kick out of there, that is assault with a deadly weapon.
I just want to say, shame on the sister for calling the police on her brother. That's like,
yes.
That's worse than going and telling mom. Come on.
That's way worse. That is way worse. But you got to think about it. If you're going to throw something, though, chicken isn't a bad choice. You got the drumstick that's like a club, you know what I mean? They're like
chicken
shaped
isn't
like
a bad choice.
It's like, think about this. They're shaped like weapons. A drumstick is shaped like a club.
I mean, a club that's like this big.
a little midget club. Then you look at the chicken wing. The chicken wing is a cross between a ninja star and a boomerang. Am I right? They're perfect to throw. You could totally take a fool out with a drumstick and a chicken wing. Right or wrong?
You could, depending on how hard you threw it.
But if it's me, the only time I want somebody to throw chicken at me is if I'm not too close. I'm not close enough to the bucket, and someone's like, "Hey, Tate, you want a thigh? Toss that bad boy over. I'll catch it." That's when it's okay to throw chicken, especially.
It's the only time.
I bet you couldn't find somebody throwing some Popeyes chicken over there. I bet you everybody would have kept. You wouldn't have found nobody throwing Popeyes chicken at anybody else. They would have been, because that's too valuable. It's too tasty.
It's so crispy.
You're not throwing Popeyes chicken or Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches. People don't do that.
It's also expensive too. That's probably why.
That's why people you don't see no food fight with caviar. People are not doing that. You don't see no.
That's a little extreme, but yeah.
You're not throwing chocolate at other people. You only throw the stuff that people don't really want. It's always the stuff is like, this food really isn't that good anyway. I done had enough of this churches. Let me hit sister in the back of the head with a drumstick. That's all I'm pointing out.
Oh God.
Okay, now the pasta person. Give me your thoughts on the pasta people.
I mean,
wait. Go ahead. Sorry. I gotta hold this in.
I have road rage sometimes, and there are times where I'll get so aggravated with whoever is causing the road rage with me that the next red light we stop at, I am sometimes so tempted to put my car in park, open the door, and just sock it to them. So I get both of these stories, man. I get, doing what they did.
No. I'm throwing a flag on the flag. No. You're driving down the highway. Mm-hmm. You driving down Highway 76. You're going down there. You're listening to your tunes, and somebody cuts you off. Mm-hmm. You don't think like, I'm gonna throw my linguine at him. No, you don't like that. Is not road rage.
Spaghetti.
No one is talking about
bolognese.
I'm throwing my linguine and bolognese sauce at somebody. Nobody is doing that, Faith. Why are they throwing pasta at somebody?
Date, I can't. Do you think if I knew the answer?
Here's a pinwheel in your eye. Come on. You're doing nothing by throwing pasta at somebody.
Listen, I guess if you're in Florida, you just need to start carrying a bowl around with you everywhere. If people are going to start throwing food at you, just flip the bowl over and catch it. But then you got lunch.
Because I don't get the whole throwing pasta at nobody. The church's chicken, those are like little ninja stars. Those little drumsticks. I could totally see you knocking a fool out with some church's chicken. But pasta, I don't get. Pizza, I understand pizza.
Well, if the pasta's hot
not when you flake. If you driving down the street, you doing 45. The other dude's doing 45. You're gonna hit him with your linguine.
Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Have you ever, you were, warming up or cooking pasta sauce on the stove, and the pasta sauce gets too hot, and so it starts bubbling, and then you have some of that pasta sauce pop, and it hits you.
It's like you've been shot
all over you.
It's like you've been shot with buckshot.
It's hot. So if it's hot pasta and hot pasta sauce, that can really do some damage.
Yeah, you turn around and that thing explode real quick and drop it, hit you on the back. You fall like you've been shot by a machine gun. So yes, I do get that, but not when you're driving down the street. They said road rage. It'd be different if the brother and sister, they were in the house and sister slung some pasta at them.
Oh, it's okay.
That would be.
That's okay.
Right. That's causes damage. But if you're going down to 405 and someone throws some linguine and some pinwheels at you, it's just like, what's wrong with you, fool? You know what? I'm gonna keep it real though. If someone threw some pasta at me on the highway, I'm gonna look at them like they're crazy, but I'm not getting out of the car. Because if you are so angry that you're going to throw your pasta at
There's no telling what else they're gonna do.
There's another level to his anger. He hasn't reached maximum capacity.
Right, he threw out his leftovers.
You know what I mean? If he slings out his fettuccine Alfredo, you know he's pissed off.
You know, I would have to be really, really, really upset to waste my pasta leftovers on somebody.
Exactly. You have to recognize that. Everybody loves leftover pasta. So if you so angry that you done threw your leftover fettuccine Alfredo out, if you get out of that car, you know there's consequences and repercussions. Am I right?
Yeah.
Nobody. You can throw some cold church's chicken, but if you're throwing that pasta out, they're upset. They are already have gone beyond. They're ready to escalate.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. You better realize. This person is upset. You done something really wrong to make somebody throw their leftover. Mm-hmm. Don't let them be a little hefty. It's gonna take some real. You know what I mean? They take their food serious.
Oh gosh.
I was a hefty dude. I'm not throwing my leftover pasta away unless I'm really mad. I'm so mad I'm not seeing straight, so I threw my pasta. Just looking at me.
All right. Well, guys, with that, we're going to close out our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Andrew Tate Show, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content updates. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on Monday. Peace.
That genie.
Keep your food to yourselves.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna